was just like, oh.
The guy.
Yeah, the guy.
That's fucking crazy. That's fucking wild. Talk.
Got the intrusive thought of doing that there.
Yo. Should be good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think should be good, yeah. Okay. And if it's not good, I'll just do this. So we're like protected and shit. Yeah. Protected and shit.
Protection is important.
In a highest level of protection. Press a button and then you're protected. 2026, by the way.
Men need more protection options, I think, don't you think?
To protect themselves or others?
No, protect themselves from like having kids and shit.
I mean, there's a lot going on right now. Like the girls can have the fucking ring thing. There's condoms. There's even condoms given in clubs. There's what else is there? There's the pill. There's the bar. Whatever it is. There's a lot of choice, bro. It's not
but
like
that's for the ladies mostly, bro.
the pill, the bar, the There's something for the guys, isn't it?
Yeah, snip your fucking pipes.
There's something. Put something in the dick, no? In urethra, no, isn't it? It's some wild shit, bro. No.
I don't know what you do, bro. But
No, I don't do that, bro.
I think that's a.
I'm protected
somewhere.
against that.
Yeah. There's a name for that, though. I used to have a workmate. He told me about it. That is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
That's
purpose of it, though, is, I guess, up to them. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's like stimulation / protection. Because I think it can be I don't know how. Because some men do that for, like, a reason, but like, that's disgusting. Can't imagine.
I'll let you try it and then you can.
Fuck that. Fuck off, mate. Go home. Go home.
You actually came over. Imagine someone inviting you to do a podcast and they come over to your house to do it.
And then you talk about urethra.
Yeah. The first like 2 minutes.
2 seconds. Yeah.
2 minutes of it is just talking about putting
Random
things
shit
into your urethra.
No, but it's all for a good cause. It's all for protection of men against kids.
Yeah, no, apparently there is a pill that they're developing for that or some shit.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm sure you'd know.
Why? I'm a conservative guy.
Are you? Yeah.
I am.
What's conservative in your views?
Well, like, not sleeping with someone that you're not actually with. That's a start, anyway.
Okay, so you're kind of following that tradition of the past.
Well, yeah, traditional kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, I prefer a more kind of conservative laity as well, and that kind of chases fun in a sense, because then it feels more real, more fun, and you can really understand if you like the person or not prior to engaging with them. You know what I mean? Because just physically on its own, that's one thing, but when you really connect with someone, first of all, you're already detached from the experience for a period of time, because this is a rare occurrence. Hence, the experience when you have it will be much better, and you'll actually be comfortable that this will work out to be something more than just you satisfying yourselves, which is a weird form of dual masturbation, nearly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. 100% is.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people do that nowadays, where they kind of just masturbate with another person.
Yeah. It's a really weird concept to put it, but like sex in itself has been bastardized, I feel.
Yeah.
Like,
because probably previously, like,
yeah,
when they would go into church to get married and stuff, people still do that, right?
Yeah.
But when they had that tradition of like not having sex before marriage, it was probably more of a, this is a like a ritualistic type process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it had some meaning. It's like, we're gonna do this in order to like have kids and continue our lineage.
Yeah.
Which now is just like, I'm an alpha male and I have 15 girls at the same time.
Like, it's a tricky one, because in the culture today, you're nearly an outcast if you have this sort of mentality. And but for me, I haven't had any issue of finding a correct partner for the most part over these few months. There, you have to eliminate people, yes, but in itself, that's exciting because you understand that you're not tied down in another thing that doesn't work for a prolonged period of time, whilst also being able to broaden your view on who your ideal partner is through meeting the ones that are not. Even bad relationships can be a very good metric or a good way of understanding that. So let's say your ex put you through a miserable time. Now you have so many points that you can look for in a new partner, which
To avoid, or
yeah,
Yeah.
to not have those traits develop again. So with that now, it's worked out really well for me. I'm just gonna say, like,
Well, see, then that just completely depends on your view of everything, because it just
Yeah.
reminds me of how, you know, some person would experience something negative and bad, and they would continue thinking about it as negative and bad, and then some other people, they'd be thinking that, okay, I've experienced this thing and it's a lesson for me and I'm going to learn from it, and the next time if I'm ever in a similar situation, I'm going to use that experience in some way, you know. So it just kind of sounds like that. So it depends on the person whether how you're going to look at the situation.
Yeah, the perspective in life matters a lot, and basically dealing with these very difficult situations is guaranteed because you need to figure out what you like and what you don't like to come to a better place, because if you get exactly what you want at 16, you're likely to have a much different worldview and understanding of things at 25 or 30. So you may as well go through just figuring out what your worldview is through even heartbreak if it's necessary. It's a sad thing to think about it that way, but you're likely not going to stay with the same person that you met at like 16, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or friend
Probably.
groups, or for anything. You're just you're learning a certain thing even about the very most negative things that happen within a relationship about yourself. So it's a gift in a really weird way. Like and when you start looking at things that way, no experience really becomes bad. It's just about what did you process out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you learn? It's probably similar, like everything you said reminds me of how people talk about getting a lot of money when they're young. That it's actually better to have a bit of a more challenging path to money, otherwise you will be missing out a lot. Like if you're just that kind of a 18-year-old kid who gambled on altcoins, so on crypto, and like, he just gambled on some coin, he got like 2 million, but then he doesn't have a skill, he doesn't have work ethic, he doesn't have like discipline, he doesn't have ability to go through pain, you know. So if he loses that money now, he just views money as something that is extremely simple, and it probably is, but he doesn't have a way to get it simply the same way, maybe.
Like the whole thing of having something that you can't appreciate at the time, like that level of money, if you just manage to come across it with crypto, you won't have the discipline to, well, usually you wouldn't. Of course there's people that can, and kudos to them, but most people wouldn't have the discipline to actually just do the right thing with that money. They would spend it in ways and that are just dopamine inducing, and once you hit a certain dopamine peak with something, like you got all the nice cars that you could want, you got the house, you got the girls, you got everything else starts feeling very dull. So what's left at the end of all that? You can either try to fulfill this life then through a feeling, which is substances, that's why I guess prevalent a lot of the time probably as well, or try to find meaning in something much more deeper and more spiritual, like God, which is a lot better. But
it's also like a harder path to go onto because of how much exposure to these dopamine inducing things there is currently. Like it's much easier to go to a club when you're like 19 and you got money and meet some guy who's like, oh, brother, would you like to have the best experience of your life? I have this pill, and like you're gonna feel amazing. You're gonna love your girl, and like it's fantastic. And you're like, yeah, bro, I want to experience more,
Yeah.
because you're already on that dopamine high, because you have been getting the money, the house, the whatever, the clothes, right? And you're like, you already want more,
Yeah.
because you don't have the financial literacy, or you do not have discipline, or you do not
Yeah.
value money as much,
Yeah.
because it doesn't equate to like input, like the output that you got may not equate to the input. You know what I'm saying?
Not really.
So like you always have some sort of input. You put something in, some sort of energy into something.
Okay, yeah.
Like physical energy, right? And then you got the output. So for example, for me to, if I'm a trader and I actually just wanna trade Bitcoin, not gamble on it, but like actually be very, very structured around my risk, around everything and how I do it, around my day to do it, then like that's the input that I put in. I'm disciplined with it. I go and I do my work in order to do that.
Yeah.
But then, and I get an output in terms of money, right? But then I can be a person who's just like, oh, I have 1,000. Let me throw it in this coin, and then I'm just gonna get 200k, which is realistic. This is much more realistic than it seems, you know. And then that person would not feel that he suffered enough, like he didn't put enough input for that output, so his view of that equation between the two is different.
And I wonder what the excitement level would be of
it's crazy.
obtaining the things.
Oh, it's crazy.
So,
The excitement level is ridiculous.
like, let's say of actually obtaining the items from this. Like, imagine the excitement level of a dude that works like let's say a 50k a year job, and he gets his like 100k car, because it'd be monumental in that sense. Like how good that feels compared to someone that like wins big on something and just gets it for the money that he essentially got on a scratch card, you know what I mean? One good move, one lucky payout.
I feel like also what you could wanted to say, or I straight away thought in my mind is like if a person who's working a 50k a year job, if they got 100k in that crypto gamble, in comparison, how would they feel in comparison to someone who never worked in their life? So they would value the money much more, probably, because they actually worked for it, and that's exactly what I've been talking about for the whole time.
No, okay, fair.
I don't think we're disagreeing.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's just a different point.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that now, though. Well,
that's like inheritance, yeah? Yeah.
Well, if you haven't worked at all and you get that money, I'm not even sure what would be most people's reactions, because why haven't you worked? There's different reasons to why different people haven't worked, but let's say if you're just very, very young, like you win this at 18.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, like I've barely worked in my life.
Yeah?
I don't work much, no.
No.
Like this is currently I'm working my like first proper, basically full-time job.
I worked since I was like 13.
Yeah,
in
no,
my
that's
mom's shop.
That's crazy to me. No.
And I was working like, I would get jobs illegally where I'd be getting paid a bit less than I should.
Yeah.
But like I worked in a shop before, like selling alcohol and shit to people and cigarettes and shit.
What?
When I was like 16.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, and before that, like I got a job doing gardening. I worked in my mum's shop. I did some landscaping. I got money any way I could. I was selling shit. All types of shit. Like, cause I could get like alcohol and cigarettes and shit directly out the shop. I would sell them outside the shop at like a €5 premium per item. So like cigarettes an extra 5 or a tenner, or alcohol an extra 5 or a tenner per bottle or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a good little business to do.
Hustle.
Yeah.
It's crazy though.
And I was very young, and you just wanted to get money any way possible to
Of course.
be able to go out there and do what you want.
Yeah. What would you do with the money?
Well, at that time, I think I was drinking, smoking, and having a lot of fun. Just hanging out with my friends and
Yeah.
getting up to no good, you could say.
Yeah.
To some tomfoolery.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like standard teenage years.
There was no standard about it.
Yeah, no. But
this was
the
like,
idea of it is that like
Yeah.
you know what I mean by standard teenage years is when you just want to experience more and
Mhm.
things that other people view as not the best to experience because you're kind of like I'm sure that's what I did because I was a very at home person.
Mhm.
I didn't really have friends until the age of like 15,
Mhm.
you know, so me going into that society, I was like, okay, I want to experience things that are kind of like said no to. Even if
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily do anything that's actually bad, that was still kind of the motto. And I feel like it is for a lot of teenagers. It's kind of like this
Yeah.
rebellious nature of a person
Yeah.
who's been always told like you should do this, you should not do this.
I think that's a very big part of it. That 100%. There's also another part of it of just simply when we're that age, we're so hormonally and kind of charged while also having the least developed brain we could possibly have. Meaning we have like this broad range of emotion and want to experience life, and which things feel the most kind of exciting to experience, and that's substances, relationships, friends, even if they're exciting but not the best for you. So a lot of like it comes down to just you are attracting to wanting that chemical outburst, and then after a certain amount of time your logical brain starts understanding consequences a bit more,
Yeah.
because you're literally developing a more complete and well-rounded brain. There's the mindset of that you spoke of for sure, and a lot of teenagers have that. But other than that, teenagers are just basically kids that
You're saying that their
yeah
ability to think is just not on the perfect level
Yeah.
that would allow them to make better decisions.
yeah.
And I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
and then
agree.
you start copying on at a certain point. Like, for me, I copped on really only properly at 18. No, 17.
That's quite early.
Yeah, well, I had a kid. I found out I was having a kid at 17, man.
Yeah. That's quite early.
yeah. So
That's what I feel like why, for example, my mom had her first kid when she turned 18. So she turned 18 and in 2 days she had a kid.
Nice.
Right? And yeah. And like similar with my dad.
Yeah.
So like their life was so much different to my life.
Mhm.
I'm 24 now.
Yeah.
I'm nowhere near that reality whatsoever.
Once the reality happens, the reality before this, like, there's no taste similarity. It's like colors are different, the way that you perceive the world is different, how you understand yourself, because you need to then very quickly and very sharply adopt an identity, which is a parent, a dad, you know what I mean? So with that, you start kind of also just being very concrete with your own identity as well. Like, dad equates to all these traits that are linked into how you want to be perceived and want to perceive yourself. Like, a good dad would be someone that is, strong, healthy, well balanced, sees their kid, is mentally stable, all this stuff. Which you then adopt behaviors and habits that are reminiscent of those things.
Or you don't.
Yeah, but
Or you
then
don't.
you still adopt an identity then. Either
Everyone
way.
always adopts an identity.
But the point of having a kid is when this happens very sharply, because it's one of those monumental things in life. Like, let's say another thing like that would be experiencing a very great death. Like, that shapes you a lot of the time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, you come out with a new set of variables, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when that happened to me, it set the right cogs in the right place for the most part, but it still took me like 2 years to properly adopt that identity, in the sense of I was a good parent, being there physically, but mentally I was still in a weird limbo between wanting to accept this new reality or not. In the end,
It's probably like that for everyone.
oh,
Like all the
yeah.
stories I've ever heard
Mm.
are about parenting are exactly like what you said, where this point comes, you never expect it. Well, unless you wanted it for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, which does not happen when you're young.
Mm.
Like, I don't think anyone at the age of 18 was wanting kids for a while and really tried to get kids for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe like 1 in a billion, but like
Yeah,
it
that's
doesn't
it.
happen, you know?
Or like in fucking Islamic countries and shit.
Even then.
No,
But
they
think
go
about
real young. Like, they can marry at like 5 and shit. Bro.
yay. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
Yay.
Like, imagine, and they can do like marriages between like older men and then young girls. Like, their prophet Muhammad, as like a close to 50-year-old man, married a 6-year-old, I believe. Consummated the marriage at 9.
And then like that's me completely shifting from what I was. Actually, I'll just finish what I was gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that for pretty much everyone who did not expect to have kids, when that new arrives, it kind of acts as this catalyst of transformation, because, as you said, you have to now fit almost the criteria that is either, as you said, built by society, or that you yourself think is a rational, logical criteria to be at. Like the thing that you should do. Like, okay, I should have enough money to be able to support the mom of the child and the child, right? I should be a good example. Or even if I'm not a good example and I'm gonna be like not there, I should probably have enough money to just like help them out, you know? So like it's still a catalyst for all these things to happen. Or of course you don't have to, and there are people who are still in the age where they can't process it correctly, as you said. Their brain is just not developed to make good cognitive decisions.
Yeah, like my brain wasn't even nearly fully developed. It's still not fully developed at 23. So when I had a kid, it was essentially that my brain cells were able to develop alongside that, which I feel like there is a positive in there, because now it's a lot easier to be a parent than to interact with other kids as well. Like you kind of grow around it in a interesting way. Like your brain now needs to know how to interact with a child effectively, so you can hence interact with other children effectively. When you don't need to do that, it's like a kid is a kid, you know, like their brain power and their worldview are completely different, but their imagination is also very unique and very interesting to see. Like today, I was out with my church friend, and he has 4 kids, so they all really naturally cling to me and everything like that because of this whole process. I think like you develop this vibe.
Yeah.
Hold that energy
Yeah.
and everything, you know?
And it's usually the same. I'm sure I seen that with my best friend who, so he's my age, he's a bit younger, and he will have a sister, which was born when he was about 7, and then he had a brother that was born when he was about 12 or 13. So then obviously at the age of 7 he was already the person who had to take care of somebody, right? Which is completely different from me.
Yeah.
Like I would have never needed to take care of someone.
I had that as experience as well with my brothers, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's me pretty much done. It's just that if you haven't experienced this neediness to take care of someone, you're not gonna have that energy where you are capable, because when you're capable, other people naturally long towards you because they get the vibe of you that you are capable.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I haven't really looked at it like that, because I just kind of looked at it as cause and effect rather than the process behind it, and that's a very interesting analysis.
Let me save it. Yeah.
What's your understanding of what love is? Hit you with a bit of a curveball there.
Bro. I think that love is mostly about, like, you could probably divide it into a couple of physical things before besides just, oh, I am experiencing this neurological biochemical reaction in my body where my hormones are released, and then I'm experiencing the feeling that is based on another person. But I also think the actual love, like all this feeling, will generate some sort of a physical action that would be towards helping that person with whatever it is. So I would say that besides, like, obviously love is the feeling that you experience, and there's probably sometimes there can be long distance love, right? And these long distance relationships, which are super weird to me, and I do not understand why people do it. I think it's a bit of a masochism, but whatever, doesn't matter what I think. But like, which means that two people don't necessarily have to be close by to experience love, which would mean that probably one person would be unable to provide some sort of physical action to help the other, right? But I feel like it still would happen in some case, in some way. Like, especially, now I wouldn't really divide this between a man and a female. I feel like they would both kind of want to do something. And I'm not talking about like actual physical intimacy. I'm just thinking about like actually, I don't know, doing something physical. Yeah.
I get it.
What do you think?
First, I think that you've never actually been in love.
Close enough. But at the same time, I kind of have. But it wasn't super. What is the word when you're experiencing it back? Reciprocated, or what's the?
Reciprocated, well.
Yeah.
That's usually admiration then.
It is, but would you not say that I can admire a person without experiencing love to them?
You can.
Like I can admire you as a person who's disciplined and who does his thing, but that doesn't mean that I have love towards you.
It's different when attraction gets mixed in, and the admiration might be strong for a certain number of traits. When attraction gets mixed in, you start perceiving it as love, when in reality it could just be idealization.
So are you saying people just might mix actual feeling of love to admiring certain qualities of a person that they see, and then they get attracted to them qualities? Or not as a consequence, but like they are attracted to them qualities or something.
Yeah, and what you described with the endorphins and chemicals thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, when that gets mixed in with this process of admiration, you can mix it up as love, but in reality, love is a combination of that, like you mentioned, but that doesn't last because it's like we spoke about with having an intense amount of money and using it, and then the chemical reaction eventually wears off. There's probably wear off that happens gradually with relationships as well, like the honeymoon phase, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So once the feeling as strong wears off, what's left? Like the byproduct of understanding this person, their story, your compatibility with love styles, your respect for one another, your respect on the outlook of the world that they have, the way that you handle disagreements, the way that you connect to each other, all of that generates a connection, which is then love. And hence you can have this connection with, let's say, long distance relationships, like you said, because you create a bond that puts you in a safe and comfortable mind space. And once your brain can feel safe and comfortable in a very volatile world, everything is just easier.
Okay, so I'll throw this in. Would you not think that, because from what I perceive that you said, is that, I'm not saying you, but I'm saying from the person who just spoke to me, it sounds like they're seeking another person to make sure that that person has qualities and values and whatever it is, tradition, that would work with the person together and create this feeling of safety in the volatile world. Right? But isn't that like opposite to, okay, I'm going to work on myself and make sure that I right now can experience absolute safety and absolute security and absolute conviction of my capability in this reality?
That is extremely important, and if you don't have that, you want to be able to effectively love someone else, because how will you provide safety for them if you don't know what safety looks like?
Mm-hmm.
How will you provide comfort if you don't know what comfort looks like? You will only just breed more discomfort because that's what you're used to being inside. That's a very good point. But then this brings apart the fact that then you need to learn how to love effectively. And you learn that through, I think scripture is the best way. It's just a hack. So,
what do you mean by scripture?
Learning about God, learning about Jesus. He loved the best out of anybody who's ever lived because he was perfect. And but if you don't have that, you can use the trial and error method, which we all have, and that's what I spoke about earlier as well. Let's say you're at 16 and you find someone that you're just attracted to, and your understanding of love would really fit this, because you just have this chemical reaction and you see something that you like in that person and you just go for that. But you don't understand your values yet, and in fact you'll only learn them probably within this, unless you have that value-based system of God on your side, which then just is basically a hack of you encounter people that have already the same value system. Things go more smoothly, things just work out, and it's then not really up to you. But if you don't have this, then just go through that relationship, see what happens, do another one, see what was wrong with that one, find someone that doesn't have that wrong thing. It might take a while, but you'll eventually reach the right person. I've done this, and don't regret it, but at the same time, there are better ways.
would we say that the whole current manosphere, if you understand who I refer to, like all these bloggers, influencers, and all the people who follow them, who want to be like them, who talk about this masculinity and femininity, and like the way finding this is exactly from male standpoint, but how finding a wife or a girlfriend works. Where am I going with this? Man's completely lost. Would we not think that basically they're trying to not do what you said, which is, okay, I'm going to try to find a person with similar values, similar tradition, etc., that suits me, that we both really click on the similarity, but they're like, okay, let me just find a person who's going to be programmable by me. That's what I feel like a lot.
Yeah, that's the most manipulative way of doing things.
Because I've seen a lot of that online. It's like they're all trying to find a girl who will be listening to them enough and almost soulless enough and almost without her own autonomy, willing and passion, that like, she has to be, I'm not saying right now, probably a lot of girls, nobody has to be at home and stuff. A lot of people...
I support that though, but I'm not going to enforce it, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to find a person that shares a similar value, that, like, I understand the importance of a mother. It's the most important job in the world. Without a good mother, we're never going to make good men or women. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, with that, of course, the man's part is extremely important as well. Just the mother has a certain comforting ability, I think, that just is different. Like, mothers in nature and everything, they are highly regarded, you could say. Well, that whole culture of things, of trying to find a person and change them, it never really works. First of all, changing somebody individually usually finds very difficult. Through sheer manipulation you can reach that place, but then is it really worth it? Because again, it's kind of like a version of using somebody else to masturbate, nearly. You know, because you're trying to create a person and a version of reality that you're comfortable with, even though that this person was never meant to be this thing. Just you are molding them into your deepest desires. I think that there's a certain degree of compromise that needs to come with a relationship, but that's why it's so important to find someone that has compassion, understanding, care, emotional intelligence. General intellect would be sweet as well. But this makes them be able to discern reality and really kind of talk to you about things in a non-argumentative way, where you figure out solutions where both people are happy. And with those relationships, those skyrocket into being massively successful. But the ones where there's a need for two people to actively change each other constantly, you will never have peace in there, because clearly you haven't found peace in yourself and confidence that you just need to find the right person, not the person that gives you a certain amount of validation or the thing that you want to make you stay. So real love is very complex.
Well,
and you can't really say that you've experienced it unless you really know what it is.
I understand what you're saying. Because see what I talked about when you asked me about what I think love is, I was just very, very general, thinking about that feeling of love that one may experience towards another, without the complexity of two people being in a relationship of some sorts, where it's more than just the feeling that I'm experiencing towards that person and the actions that I try to do towards them. You know, because you're basically talking about what a real relationship, including marriage, should be like. Or even
Yeah.
what a relationship, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, it can be friendship, right? Because okay, if I know that I have this friend and we have personalities that are similar in some things and then different in other things, we need to both make sure that we are conscious enough that when we are clashing, we'll be able to figure out the stuff that we're clashing on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, that's where a lot of friendships they dissolve, because one guy continues to say, or a girl, one person continues to push their agenda and another one pushes their agenda, and then they keep clashing.
Yeah, the actual interests that are in mind usually aren't the problem. It's the method of communicating and dealing with the discomfort of being different is. So let's say I'm okay, like I'm not a supporter of Islam personally, but I have Islamic friends. I don't really support gay people necessarily, but I'd have gay friends. I'm no different than them in the sense of I have certain views and outlooks on the world that I'm sure are not going to be the cup of tea of everyone else. In fact, me not being a supporter of them often is, even in itself. But in finding the common ground on how to communicate and be respectful to each other and just treat it as a difference in outlooks, views of life, where you are currently in your life as well, you can find that you'll just be a lot more like safe and confident and cool with a lot more people. You can have differences, but just be nice. So, and I'm not always like nice in the sense of like I told my friend that I thought his religion was evil in the sense of the actual religion itself, not the people, and he still respected my opinion and treated me as a friend after. And he can also argue that with Christianity, what points of it are wrong, and I will just argue with him back in a respectful manner about it, and we had long debates about such things. The seeking of truth should be the main goal of debating, not if your point is right or wrong. I know that it sounds like contrary to popular belief of when I'm debating my idea. But if you're debating that in that sense and you're not behind a political agenda or anything like that, you're really just limiting your ability to have a broader, more complete worldview. You need to be comfortable with also being wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
So
100% agree, because, and I've said that since I was probably 16, where I kept seeing it and then I kept saying it. I don't say it anymore, but a lot of people, they cannot, I didn't use the word debate back then. I was saying argue, because I didn't know that debate is a better word for it. But I would experience arguments, as I said back then, with people, and I would notice that they cannot do what I think is a good way to debate, because because I'm doing politics, we read this extract by Sen, who wrote it in 2003, which is kind of a while back, about Greeks that had like the best idea about what democracy is, because we currently do not really have democracy. It's called democracy, but it's not. Because the true democracy that Greeks invented and they held was they all gather at that forum and then they all voiced their opinion. Right? So if you voice your opinion right now to me about a certain religion or something that you support, and I disagree, then I'm gonna say back that I disagree, and then person A can disagree, or person B can agree, and then they make a formal consensus about it, which can take some time, or like when they're gonna decide, okay, what are we gonna do in the society, how are we gonna like raise our children, or what kind of a law we're gonna introduce for kids or for women. Like, for example, they didn't have children couldn't vote, women couldn't vote. Only men who were born in the place above 20 years old could vote. You know, for who's gonna be the ruler.
Yeah.
And somebody would have to, you know, make that, like decide that, and then to decide that, obviously people will have to agree, and somebody would disagree. So that's a true democracy.
Yeah, and I suppose the key point there is the active seeking of the truth part, because then it opens up a door of being able to debate and figure out what that truth actually looks like, rather than a certain political party making it appear like they're pushing this truth, but when they get into parliament they're actually doing something completely different.
And they would be, because really what they're trying to do usually is to get into parliament.
Yeah.
But then even see currently what the thing is that if you're with a party, there's not that much you can do. Like I may be the person who wants to do XYZ, and I will talk about it, but once I'm in a party, there's very little chance that somebody will listen to me, and my opinion will be valued. You know, of course it depends on the candidate. It depends on how strongly they can position themselves in society.
But it's really just a popularity contest for the most part.
Yeah.
And popularity, you need a strong reaction, and strong reactions can be fabricated. Like it really is a shame, because the idea of democracy is very good, but then again, the idea of communism isn't too bad either. Just people are extremely flawed, which is never a variable that we like to take into account when we talk about politics, and because it feels like it should be like maths, just a thing that's guaranteed, but there's so many different variables to humans that I wouldn't trust myself even, yet alone a random dude that has so many different reasons to act and behave the way he does.
Yeah.
If we were the same person, would you behave differently, sort of thing?
What do you mean?
Like if you were in his shoes and you had the life that he had and the needs that he had in that moment, like you had that need to be in the place that he was based off your own life circumstances that led you into needing that sort of life and validation, and then you're put into a difficult place of, am I really going to say something that I know I have no real want to pursue in the future, but it will get me to where I want to be? Or do I go the honest route and just withdraw from this, where the people who are actually pulling the strings for me to behave that way and funding this and everything like that, they're not going to like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What?
like, would you behave differently, would you say?
I don't know. I feel like if I'm placed in that situation right now, like if I'm literally put in the guy's body, my decision making is going to be vastly different from his, simply because I have lived a different life before that. You know, so it's like what we talked about at the start, where all of these small experiences that may be negative are building me into that person who I am today. So then obviously, if we both would be placed into that other guy's body and we would have to make a decision, we both would make a different decision because of what kind of a person we are. And the kind of a person we are depends on all of the previous experiences that we had.
Yeah, but the previous experiences that he had led him to being the person that would be in that place.
Yeah.
We're not in that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the decision making that he has to make is completely different.
Well, the decision making itself is the same. The decision making does not change. The process of it does, and his ability and like how he
On the contrary,
values certain things.
Yeah. On the contrary, I think that the process stays the same, because I think the process is outside of his power at that stage. Because
Maybe I worded it wrongly. Like what I'm saying is that, say you have to make decision X and Y. In the end, you just have to make a decision X and Y. But how you're going to think about it is different. that's what I call like the process. Right? So the process of me evaluating the 2 decisions or 3 or 5 decisions. That's the difference because of my mental structures, mental patterns, recognition of XYZ.
So let's say like you were placed in the American Parliament right now,
Right.
and you had the ability to make final decisions on the left and the right party. Just you are the guy. You're gonna do it. And how would you structure that company? That country to try generate peace in it?
I have no freaking idea, brother.
No.
No freaking idea. Because, see, the question is, can we do light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not too much.
Yeah. That's cool. That's better.
I'll do this as well. That good?
Yeah, that's much better than it was. So I think the question overall is, what do I think a certain action will result in, right?
Yeah, but like...
What it actually will result in is outside of my scope.
But
right?
This is like a hypothetical where you make decisions based of what you think will happen and what you think will work out.
Of course.
Like we have to do this in day-to-day life.
Of course.
Very often. Just this is on a much grander scale, and it's only a hypothetical. It's not like you're actually going to become the fucking...
We never know that.
President.
But right now, no. Yeah.
You got keys on your shoes?
I got keys on my shoes.
Thought that looked like a key.
Oh, I never took off the tape. Basically, it's orange, but there's a tape on it because I was doing this movie extras thing, which means like somebody's filming a TV show or a movie, and there's people in the background.
Yeah,
so somebody has to be in the background, but they didn't want anything to
So
really
you were
stand
like
out.
tree number 4?
Whatever 3 number 4 means, but probably.
Yeah. Like the tree number 4.
Oh,
like.
tree! No. You're not like a tree. You're actually a person. But for example, like
Well, you got your idea.
there's the background, people in the cafe. You know.
Yeah.
Tree number 4 is crazy. Me and some guy, bro. I was in this. I don't remember what we were filming, but basically we came there, and it was raining. Like bad, and we have to be outside. It's raining bad, so we're there with the umbrellas waiting until it finishes. It never finished, so we walked back to the safe area where we chilled. I changed, etc. Then the rain finished. They walked us out again. You know what my role was? We were standing at a road in the forest, quote unquote forest, and then me and this guy, we were just standing there talking and smoking fake cigarettes.
That sounds good.
And we did that for about 40 minutes. And we're talking. And then some guy would come out, and the actual main character, and he would put a picture of somebody in our face and be like, have you seen this guy? And we're like, no, sorry. And then he just walked forward and do his thing. Which is like, I really enjoyed that.
That sounds good, man.
It was good because
lovely.
besides the rain was not that good.
I feel like that fits into it because then the experience is more rememberful, I guess. Like
Memorable,
rememberable or whatever.
Memorable.
Memorable, motherfucker. No, but like it just kind of sticks with you a bit more, and that's what I kind of like about life as a whole. And once you develop that perspective, like I mentioned early on, where your experiences can be still seen as positive even if they were negative, you can also then appreciate the imperfection of life much more strongly. Like people's imperfections, they start being enjoyable in a weird way. You just kind of see it as this is the other end of the coin. Like people's life has a byproduct because they have to take shots and they will miss. So once they miss that byproduct, it's a beautiful thing nearly because it shows a deeper story. Because if they only have positive stories to give, then well, they probably haven't done much. I have a lot of stories, like a lot.
Yeah.
And from the ones that I tell, I like to also tell the ones that didn't work out that well, but still in the same way.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of excitement to having that kind of life, in a strange way. You know that you've done a lot then.
Coming back to the question about Parliament.
Yeah, so you want to know what I fucking do, or do you want to keep going?
Go on. Yeah.
Alright. So, to begin with, they spend too much fucking money on the military. And that's because they do too much shit in other countries that they don't belong in. Creating peace treaties and focusing on that first would be very beneficial. And then from that, the money that would be gotten would have to be used to attack the drug problem. That needs to be first addressed using government bans on a lot of narcotics that are like painkillers and shit that get you addicted, because that's what leads to like heroin and stuff. And then cleaning the streets from there with that. With the peace treaty going on and everything, just having better trade relations with other countries and actually just building yourself into semi-European Union, like real cohabitants. So not just this weird kind of constant arguing that seems to be going on, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So with that then, when the drug problem and the military issues are kind of toned down, and I know that I said those things very kind of lightly, but you know, it would be a lot harder than just what I'm saying.
Of course,
it would be a lot harder. But with that, then just quality of life needs to be increased, and the changing of how the food stores are would probably be very beneficial, because obesity is a massive issue there. Mm-hmm. So the government actually tackling that and making it less attractive to have obesity and everything like that be a play. Like they got kind of stung out by the prohibition where they cancelled that alcohol completely. That's what happens when you just get rid of stuff. But there's a way of maneuvering your way around that, kind of like Ireland did with cigarettes. People kind of gradually started smoking less and less because they made it very inconvenient and ugly to do so. Yeah. You could also do that with that. And let's say, other than that, it's a pretty good country, but it's just about the balance of then violence and guns and everything like that, and the original reasons why the drugs are also on the streets then. But if you have additional money and additional kind of healthy bodies for everything like that, you can hence have more police, which would then hence can clean up the streets of that when it's done in the right way. Because an overall healthier country where you eradicate a lot of the drug problems initially will be easier to clean up because there's less people going out on the streets. But a healthier country would also need good housing, and cheaper housing then would be a good thing for them to invest in instead of their fucking military. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more brains on the job, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they could fucking do that.
Yeah.
But this is all very hypothetical. This is me talking out of my ass.
There's a few problems with this.
Yeah,
and the first problem is.
By the way, I did not think of this beforehand.
Oh, I understand. I understand 100%. I have not thought about a single thing we spoke about today besides Sen. So basically, the first problem is, and I experienced this way back when I was about 8 years old, and my cousin played this game on his PC called Total War.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of the series Total War? No. But basically, it's like, have you heard of Civilization?
No, so it's like Warhammer.
It's probably a bit, maybe. But it's like you possess power of a certain state that you pick on the map,
Mhm.
and then you can attack, you can trade, you can diplomacy, and all of that.
Mhm.
And me and him, we had a completely different mindset about it. He would be all about diplomacy, and I would be all about, okay, let me go and get all them different states. Let me go and like hammer this thing into everybody and get as much as I can, right? In the end, I would have, now this is me, like 8 years old, I would have a lot of space, but it was not built. There was no advancement, technological, anything, right?
Mhm.
His place would be much smaller, but he would have really great trade routes. He would have great diplomacy. He'd be respected. Religion would be very, very high up in his
Mhm.
country. Protection would be every municipality, infrastructure, everything would be right.
Mhm.
So then, right now, what Trump is doing is he's really trying to play how I played. He's trying to hammer all the different states and get as much of land to himself, and then he's gonna build on that. And what we've seen with like Venezuela and stuff is that not only he's trying to get a random state, but he's trying to get a state that actually has some sort of resources to actually fuel the future building, right? So he's not just trying to like capture something. Although he did tweet about Iceland, which is crazy. It's Iceland, but maybe there's something in Iceland, right?
Ice.
Greenland has more ice.
There's some ice in.
Probably, yeah. Maybe there's some metals or some ores or something. But basically, what I'm trying to say,
is buried there or something.
the main issue is that you are talking about, okay, how do I be a nice guy and we create peace in the world?
But this can still be done where you have like level of military to defend your country. You just don't need it as much to engage. I know that that's a very naive way of thinking, but it can be done through certain methods. Like look at the European Union. Not a lot of those countries have very strong militaries, but because they work alongside each other, they become a lot stronger. This can be done. It just, you need the correct balance of things to work towards that and not work towards what you're saying you did in the game.
Yeah.
Actively doing that one thing makes you have a much worse population where you have, because let's say you can have a lot of the map, but it's going to be underdeveloped, like you said.
Yeah.
You need to kind of work on where you're at, and you're a single country. You should act like a single country, even though it's fucking massive. So, yeah.
But yeah, another issue with what you said is, you know how you talked about making sure there's like less narcotics, and you start that by limiting the exposure to certain medicine drugs, right?
Yeah.
But then, okay, the issue is the whole pharmacological business.
Yeah, fuck them. Take all their money and put it into like cleaning up the
but
streets.
how
and
are you gonna?
police.
How are you gonna take their money? How are you gonna take their money?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would you actually take their money? By what? Seizing it. But how are you? See, the thing
I'm
is,
starting to sound a lot more like a communist.
of course, even once you mentioned communism, I was like, oh boy, we know where this is going. I'm
not a communist.
I have this guy in my politics class in my year, and he is 19, and he has a crazy beard, bro. When I'm like the crazy black beard, he's 19. He just turned 19. I was like, what the fuck?
Do you want any of these, by the way?
Not really. No,
Absolutely delicious.
Oh, I bet they are fucking sugar. He's short, and he's a communist. He was in a communist party, and this guy taught me a lot, right? But see, you probably overestimate the power of the government on businesses. They can set the regulations, yes, they can, but to set.
Look what China does. Diffuse that altogether. China is technically a communist state, so I didn't help my case.
And then there's fucking North Korea or something with their dictatorship.
No, fuck that. Now you've gone far.
Oh, I have. I don't really know what China does and like what their laws
They
are.
own
How they.
all the buildings basically, and all the companies themselves, and then they can like let you do shit.
So basically, their government is actually in control.
Yeah.
See, in America, the government is not actually in control. It's only in control to an extent. Yeah.
But this is why you change it.
Of course.
This is what I mean. This is like I got in there
Of
and like
course,
fucking
of course.
stir up the pot.
But then to change it, you need to know that there are lobbyists. You know, so people who pay.
But
Put money
communism
in.
in China is a thing that, like, you would. It's not that you would take everything for yourself. You would just take those companies' assets because they fucked up the country.
Yeah.
It's like jail time for a company.
See, they can't
And then
even
hire all the people to be like police officers to kill all the drug dealers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like right now, they can't even. I remember I was talking about this to some lady that came to us talking about like economics and America and then EU and stuff. And basically, in America, they can't even put their companies onto American land. Like, think about it. In Ireland, we're getting tax. Our government is getting tax from Facebook, from Amazon, from Microsoft, from TikTok. I don't know who owns TikTok. From Facebook.
China.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they're in their walls. They're in their walls.
Okay.
Everyone that has TikTok has a Chinese man in his phone.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah, the things I've heard before, I don't know how realistic they are. I heard that people... No, I heard... This is too wild, bro. I don't even think it's realistic.
Say it.
I heard something like... I don't remember what company it was for. Something like Facebook or like Apple or so. I don't know. Some company, right? No company. Company. That they would have people sitting at desks and looking through your camera at like all times, which is not, it's super unrealistic, but there's a chance that it's like 1/15 of that is true.
1/15 is such a weird way to define a very specific action.
Okay, so 1/15 would be
like there's a man that's like has it on in the background and he's chilling on the couch. Like he has the laptop mostly closed, but ever so often you make a noise and he's like, huh? Right.
What's the guy doing?
He just continues. Like what the fuck you mean?
No, okay. When I say 1/15, I mean like not everybody's watched. Like more important highlighted people in the population would be watched or something
the poor
like
guy that's like stroking it off while he's on Instagram or some shit.
I don't know. Where did we go from the...
Imagine you're like Joe Biden's son and you're just a cokehead, but you have to like be careful of the media at all times. You've heard the crazy shit about him, yeah?
No.
Like
Never heard anything about
a lot
Joe
of hookers
Biden.
on cocaine.
Real?
Yeah, for Joe Biden's son.
Makes sense. What else would you be doing if you had so much money?
Yeah, they like to find
That's the thing we talked about with the dopamine and finances and choices.
Yeah. But it's so difficult. Like that feels like a harder life to have than gradually building towards a good life for yourself. Like I'm really appreciative of the experiences that I had, because now my goal with having a lot of money is actually just to give a lot more than receive. It feels like it'll be better.
I was talking about that with some girl, and she's like super passionate about hating on billionaires. Like she professionally hates on billionaires, right? And
That's a good job to have, I guess.
couldn't... No, okay. When I say professionally, it's like, I'm joking. She's not... That's not actually her job. Maybe it will be. Listen, maybe it will be. I would understand. But like... She... basically said why would a billionaire not donate majority of his money? You know, which does make sense. Like, there's not that much that they do in order to help everyone else, right? And my thing against that was, well, when you're playing that game, which everyone is, they need to be very, very deliberate with how they spend their money in order to elevate to new levels of the game, which everyone does, right?
Yeah.
So then the main question is, okay, how do I really decide how much I can spend and how much I can't spend on like helping other people? You know, but her point was that nobody should be a billionaire, or like if they are, everything that they gain they should just invest into humanity, which it does make sense, but knowing that we are often egocentric and playing the game, and we want to play the game and we want to be the best.
I personally think that people have free will and they should always be allowed to have free will in a sense, with limitations and certain things, yes. But those limitations, they shouldn't look like that you can't make enough and then do what you want with your cash, as long as it's not a negative impact on the world. Like, you not doing a positive impact doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing a negative one. If you're doing everything by the book, you're just helping there be more money circulating, essentially, because you're also spending it while you're doing all this. The economy is a thing, you know, and if you drive progress through this incentive, there's going to be a lot of buyers for that incentive. There's a lot less buyers for they take all your fucking shit after a certain point, you know what I'm saying? So we need money to be going around for there to be more money for everyone, more life, more
They're basically
progress.
saying that's basically like the person who made a local business, like for example opened a coffee shop. They are creating work placements for people, right? So they're benefiting society through having that business, because somebody will get a job and then they will sell something to people and people will buy something from them that the person itself wants. Is that kind of where you're going?
Sorry, could you explain that again, please?
Okay, so that's something we learned in 5th year, where, for example, I decide to open a business today, doesn't matter what business, and it's going to be local. So I'm in X city and I open a coffee store, yeah? And then for that to operate, I will need to pay my employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by paying them, I will make people get money. So I will generate money for certain part of society.
Mm-hmm.
And then because my business will do something, people, customers, they will come in and they will buy something from me, so they will get some sort of benefit. Now, the actual level of the benefit, it can be argued. It can be like, maybe our society doesn't really need it, but while they want it and while they got it, they spend their money. It means I'm filling some sort of a gap.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Exactly. So that on like a very high scale, essentially, because when you have that level of money, you're also going to be buying very expensive shit. And then that means that somebody has to sell you expensive shit.
Right.
Which means that somebody has a job selling expensive shit. Which means that there's a lot of guys under him that make that expensive shit for a lot cheaper for him. Yeah. And then the ball keeps rolling.
Right, but then wouldn't we say that technically it's about who manipulates other people in a better way?
Well, like, what is manipulation in a sense? Like, to you, like, just
manipulation is
reality and things and people?
I think from what I've saw, I think there's probably a few different ways to explain what manipulation is, but in this exact case, I think it's how can I get what I want by using power of others. How can I get to the X goal by using power of others? How can I manipulate them into doing what I want for me?
You don't need to call it that in that sense, because it's just having a clear goal in mind and a clear way of getting it using the appropriate assets. That's not manipulation, because you're very clear and you're very direct with what you want. The only thing that you're manipulating there is the reality of the situation, but you're being very clear and direct. What I think it's more that you did the work to be able to be in that place to adopt those assets, which in this case are even people, and they did the work to be in a position to receive your offer. A lot of times the offer that's being received is also beneficial both ways. Like, I know I've done well with jobs and I got decent cash from it, and they gave me a good offer. And then some other jobs, the offer is not the best, but there's other benefits. So I don't think it's manipulation. I think it's just more a contract.
I agree. I understand completely what you're saying, and I agree, because this kind of goes in line with, again, the same conversation I had with the same girl, where I brought up Steve Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember I watched the video with him, and then I read comment section, and everybody, half the people in comment section were claiming how bad of a person he is, because they did everything for him, and then he released the product, and then he's the face of the product, and he got all the money, right? But then other people, their response is something I really liked, which is, well, somebody actually had to possess the skill to do that in order for all this bunch of people to work together and make that product. Otherwise, the product would not be released in the reality currently.
It's kind of like having a car without a body and a mechanic. No, having a car without a mechanic, let's say, to assemble it. And this is a mechanic that assembles an entire car on their own. So this is a very big hypothetical. But if you just have a bunch of loose parts that are just around the workshop and nobody knows what to do, nothing will get done.
Yeah.
And the idea,
if there's no manager, basically, somebody has to manage something. So somebody has to direct energy.
Mm-hmm. Well, not even direct energy. Direct energy, you could call it. It's more, I suppose. Yeah, I'm just thinking about the individual moving parts of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's never really one direction. It's more of a cohesive kind of thing where you engage with different parts and you make them coexist and kind of interact with each other in a good way. You know what I mean?
Are we talking about
cheeseburgers?
Are we basically talking about a person who has certain elements that he can use in order to create something? So it's like, for example, I'm standing in the kitchen and I have bread, I have butter, I have onion, I have a beef patty. I have a beef patty, and I'm gonna put it, this is the elements that I use, and I'm going to assemble these elements in a specific sequence coherently in order to create that product.
Yeah.
It's this kind of, I am so confused, I'm so lost.
That's exactly it, but on a business scale, you just do those things on a, like let's say you need a accountant to do that specific part of the business to manage your finances. You need a product, you need a business plan, you need to kind of have your idea there, make the margins and seeing what the cost will be, what the selling price will be, and you just adopt all these different things, and then you adopt the assets of like, I need this thing, I need this space, I need these workers, I need X. And once you adopt everything together, it's just literally like assembling that sandwich. Just do it the right way and it'll work out. Doing the wrong way, and you've got yourself a thing that you eat half of and throw in the fucking bin. You know?
Yeah, so then in the end it's really about directing energy of people in order to generate a certain result.
Yeah.
No, in
providing
order
the right
to
offer. Because everything
that too, because you need
yeah.
to incentivize them
yeah,
to direct their energy.
and even if it's a product or if it's a service, you still need to provide the right offer for this to be successful, or else you got a double fuck up of you did something shitty that nobody likes and you wasted a bunch of your money and it doesn't work, you know. So like you need to have the right offer for everything. And that's where like a lot of sales comes in, I think, and I'm really happy that I've done sales because it also made me very linguistically elegant, you could call it. It makes it very easy to have a conversation and flow it and kind of even debating in that sense. Because with sales, what I like to do is become someone who helps the actual customer be in a better position in life than before I came there. This made me very confident in being able to sell. So with that, when I'm talking to someone about something, it makes it good because I'm really used to being in an environment where I have less advantages than the other person, because the buyer always has all the power, essentially. But you need to make it so that they're comfortable in changing their mind and having a different outlook than before you came. That you can convince them that this is a positive
addition.
Yeah,
to their
like
life.
Yeah, exactly. So when this carries over into talking to friends, talking in relationships, talking to everything, because at the end of the day, you want to be in line with reality, but still be seen and heard. But people that don't know how to communicate, they are entitled and they try to push their opinion on people in a derogatory way. So
you're basically saying there's a difference between enforcing an opinion that you believe is better onto somebody else without like having enough emotional intelligence to know that they hold their own perspective right now.
Yeah.
And their perspective can be changed if you're deliberate enough and if you're good enough at what you do.
And explain it in the correct way, but you have to understand that if you do this and it's for your own benefit and you're just trying to gain an advantage that's not of general good, it means that you're just manipulating someone and it's dangerous. So sales is a lot about manipulation, but you just need to do it and be honest with it and look for the greater good, which is the benefit of the other person. Sometimes I save people only like €50 for an entire year. Sometimes I basically didn't save them money at all, but I was always very honest about it. And they liked that, and they could look me in the face and be like, yeah, I understand everything that's going on here, and I'm still going to make this decision to go forward with this. That puts you in a whole other confidence game with any place that you fall in life, because you realize that your words have so much power. You can navigate through any space through your words alone, including violent situations.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you have to be physically imposing enough for your word to have value in those situations as well. Because if you have confidence based on the word alone in those circumstances, then you won't really have real confidence.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sales is largely one skill that kind of, it's very powerful at influencing reality, because I think a lot of the things that we do on daily are sales. Whether that is me selling an idea to you, whether that is me actually making money from selling something, whether that is probably something else. Like a lot of communication where two people have different opinions on something.
Mm-hmm.
Or one person does not yet have an opinion, but I do,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to promote my opinion to them, changing what they do.
Yeah, and that's such a big aspect in kids, when you're trying to raise kids. So when you do start communicating with kids, you actually have to enforce a worldview onto them. This is something that is the most honest and purest form of manipulation you could say in the world. Because you're literally changing somebody to act completely different than what is originally their natural reaction. And that's okay, because you need to do it. But then comes in the question of, how do you do it? Why do you do it? And what are the methods that you do it? Essentially, that's the same as how.
Yeah.
So the methods then have to be in a very kind, pure, and honest form, if you know what I mean. Like, you need to portray that information to the child where they still end up feeling safe in the end, which promotes you then, if you look at it that way, when you do get into a romantic relationship, you're going to be able to make the partner feel safe, because the way that you can describe your intentions and your wants and your needs will be done in such a way that you're already used to that weird dynamic where the person holds the power. And when you try to get a point across to someone, the other person always holds the power, because they can instantly either accept or reject it. And that's all based on how they feel and interpret that situation. So with sales, it makes you be able to just tweak it in a certain way where you're consistently portraying the information in the most effective way possible. Pleasant, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can manipulate the shit out of people if you want to. And that looks like using that same information and knowing how people will react and adopting to their deepest wants and needs and desires to get the desired effect that you want. And if you apply this to romantic relationships or any other relationships like your child, you can then get exactly what you need and what you want and leave the situation because you just put on a mask. There's that very dark side of it, which once you have this, you need to actively be aware that you can't do this, because you know what that thing is. So I just prefer.
Or you can, if you for some reason decide that whatever you do is going to result in a greater good.
No.
But then who are you
you
to decide on what the greater good is?
You simply can't overall, because doing the thing in itself, when it's for your own benefit, is a bad thing, because you're actively creating a false reality. Once it's still in line with reality, it's okay. But if you create a false reality, that's where it starts bridging a gap, and you won't even be able to hold that up, because reality always shows its true colors. That's obvious. You know what I mean? So, like, it's also a more dangerous move to even do it. I would actively avoid doing it anyway, just based on moral code alone. And moral code is very important with any of these things. What's your set of morals? Do you know them?
I could say don't hurt, but besides that, not really. So, for
What do you mean
example,
by
I
don't
would.
hurt?
Okay, so I would not hurt another person physically.
I would.
To. Yes, I'm thinking about it. Yes, yes. But you would hurt them if you would have developed some sort of a benefit from it, and the benefit from it that you develop largely would be safety.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's like
so
one of the only circumstances.
Yes. So I mean, I would not hurt them to develop any other benefit than safety.
Yeah, but let's say psychologically then.
Psychological hurting is different, right?
Yeah, but
psychological
hurting. Can I just add this?
Yeah, go on.
So like, let's say people fall into that trap of then perceiving psychological danger, like jealousy, for example. That's a big one in relationships. So they fall into that trap of perceiving jealousy as a danger, so they start psychologically attacking back. So it's literally psychological warfare to try to gain an advantage, which is safety.
Yeah.
Which never actually comes in those circumstances. And that's why even physical reactions, like trying to defend yourself in certain situations, which you perceive as defense, but in reality it isn't. It's just offense. Well, it's just a tense situation that you didn't know how to manage. Like a lot of fights outside of bars or things like that are over very stupid things, where you could have handled that situation much better, even if you just had to lower your ego. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so basically, what's the question again? What's my morals?
Yeah, you don't hurt people.
Try my best not to, including psychologically. Because I know that, like, it happens. Like, you know, I actually did. But like, I'm not gonna say do, I'm gonna say did, because it happened before this moment in time, right? But I do know that I try my best not to.
Yeah.
You know, but then hurting someone psychologically can be because you are not understanding the best way to communicate with that exact person in that exact circumstance, because either you're not cognitive enough of how you do it and what's the effect of it.
Ripping this apart.
Maybe.
No, in a good way though.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make the cogs work more.
Yeah.
Can I add?
Yeah, go on.
Alright, but like, then if we look at pain perception and what is painful to certain individuals, we reach a very weird place with that. Because what's painful
I understand
to some
and I agree.
people and isn't painful to others. And we reach an even weirder level. But let's go with that first.
Because you can even you may desire to not desire. You may decide that hurting someone psychologically is a good way to get them to that new level. And I only say that from a certain experience that I had recently with a couple of friends, where a certain person may want to create certain result or change another in a certain way, and they at the time believe that it's gonna work, and it may work, or it may not work. Right, so then they're kind of gambling on it. Go on.
Yeah, that's completely true. And like, the thing is, different people's belief systems are different, and their standards for how they express themselves are as well. So what's true and good to one individual isn't true and good to another, while they still have firm understandings that they're doing the general good. Like, a lot of people have, like, even narcissistic issues, let's say. They believe that their way of communicating to others is very good and very right, even though they're clearly negative and destructive. Like, let's say then the deeper layer beneath that is, that's basically the beginning of it. of different people's belief systems are so much more intricate that, and there's also like psychological defects there where they had trauma and now they have a psychological incline to react in a certain way, even to normal information. There's no possible way not to hurt someone. And on the next level of that, of when you engage with loving someone and being close to them, those relationships, you sometimes just there to learn something from them. And the natural byproduct of love is pain, is discomfort, it's heartbreak. And that's even then enjoyable in its own right, because you learn so much more from that heartbreak and from whatever lessons came about with that. There's no way to avoid hurting. You just have to be comfortable with understanding and changing the way that you portray information so that you just hurt people in the least way possible. And when you make your decisions, you make the decisions that will make you be able to have people in your life the closest for the longest period of time, and with a much lesser diffuse of negativity at the end. That's all you can hope for. Because in the end, you will even get hurt by death, which is inevitable. You love somebody perfectly.
Death of others.
Yeah. Like you love someone perfectly, like your wife, your entire life. And then at the end of it, she dies and you're left alone. The byproduct of that will be extreme heartache and pain, but she hurt you in the sense of she knew she was gonna die. She knew that she might die before you. Of course, that's just natural.
That's not willing.
No, that's natural.
Yeah.
But
see, that then is kind of different from. So I think I would have to correct myself in what I've said is that I would willingly, no, I would try to minimize the psychological damage that I would do towards another person.
Yeah, right? True active kind of managing of your character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Towards their character, knowing that their character is like this.
Yeah. And
I'm like this, and sometimes I can act like this, and that may hurt them, so I'm gonna act differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is where that emotional intelligence comes in, I guess.
Yeah, and growing yourself as a person as well, so that I always believe in managing is not an effective way of dealing with reality. Prevention is much more effective. Because managing you have to do out of necessity at times, but if you have to manage all your circumstances in your life, you're just consistently kind of on the defensive. Whereas if you have preventative measures of certain circumstances from happening, you actively are always ahead. So if you build the life that you want through active effort in kind of foresight of there being things that you will need to prevent, and you do the countermeasures to those things, you become, well, a lot more of a complete and developed person that's not gonna step on the same rake twice, you could say. So we really need to grow and add tools to our belt that we can deploy in the right time. There's an idea of being just prepared for whatever things come your way.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Hormozy talks a lot about it. You basically just need to be ready to take the chance. And to seize the opportunity, you need to have a certain level of set of skills, or that opportunity is going to pass you by. You're not, like, let's say I'm interested in developing business now, and I grew my sets of skills for a while to be able to be in that space. So now when I communicate with the people that I want to do the business with, I have the right amount of words and vocabulary and knowledge to be able to do so effectively. If I wasn't prepared for that moment, I would be like a horse that's just took its first steps. Whereas now I can kind of trot. I know what's happening,
Would a better analogy then be a horse by itself that doesn't know where it's going versus a rider on a horse that kind of leads the way?
Yeah, but yeah, I guess so. I just meant like a horse that's just falling
Yeah,
over
no, I
and shit.
understand. I understand. Like a baby that doesn't
'Cause
know
like
how to walk
yeah, like
versus an adult who knows where to walk and how to
yeah,
walk.
to me that's like a bit more specific because I'd still be there doing the thing. I would just be falling around the place like real lost, lost motherfucker.
Yeah, so then it basically comes down to direction, ability to understand what your direction is.
But that's the very beginning of it. At you kind of need to have that direction set up long ago before you reach these steps because the gap between the direction and you actually doing the things
Physical action,
that
Yeah.
require you to be even ready for that opportunity, which is so far away. Like this thing and this thing is basically not in the same world because you literally have to change your world to be in that place. Like once you're a business owner and you're successful, you are in a completely different set of friends, things you do on a daily basis, relationships you'd accept in your life, mindset that you hold, health that you have. Everything is absolutely different. So you're in a different world. If you were to branch off this way and be a fucking heroin junkie, you'd have much different habits and ways of living and friends and everything, you know?
Of course.
So,
But I don't think, I think it's not too correct to pick such two different extremes, right? So what I'm saying is, I think it's possible to build up a lot of skills without having a direction. And then once you have a direction now, you're going to hone in the skills to be more precise into the direction that you have picked.
No, you're absolutely right in that regard. And when you don't know what to do, just build up your skill level. You're completely correct. Just what I mean is like the direction that you hold to be able to reach a certain goal, that's different because then you already are like if this is a skill tree, you were in strength for a while and now you're going off into the fucking like heavy weapons section, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're really buying your points into that. So and thinking of life, the whole video game theory can be effective to some extent when you're just thinking about your problems and the outcomes that you want to reach. When you boil it down to how video games kind of put it, and you create goal lists and certain things that you need to do to complete a task or complete a, let's say a business is in your head. When we developed it, when we kind of thought about it as in, all right, we need this to make the sandwich. If you think of that as like the set of components you need to create a business, and you just add those in and then complete the task list afterwards, like checking it off, you will then 90% of the time have that thing, at least in a small part of it. So you can add it to the general goal, which is completing that storyline. Like that stuff can be very effective if you think of it as mindsets, but then you go through life by just experiencing who you are in that very present moment. But you can add those little task bars, you know what I mean? And you can add that in the background that you need this to complete your items. And then if you have a weapon wheel, that's even fucking better.
Weapon wheel?
Yeah, carry that shit with you, you know what I'm saying?
Is that like when you're playing like a
on the
Dark
USA
Souls or something,
USA
and you
servers.
can, like, go through different weapons?
No, it's when you have the USA servers enabled and you can have like a hatchet, a gun, and a fucking AK strapped to you and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's when you have a weapon wheel.
So you're basically saying that you can be a type of person that is very logical with what he needs to do. So he has a direction, and to enforce that direction, he writes out the goal and he writes out the tasks to complete in order to get to that goal. But then besides that, the person still needs to be ready for life to throw random shit at you.
Yeah.
Right? Because it will eventually.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you referred to Alex Hormozy saying, that the person has to be not even competent, but confident enough to tackle the things that come across you, even if you are not feeling like you can. Probably.
Yeah, well, that's just being ready for opportunities is what I'm talking about.
But
And
not
but you're
everything
right.
is an opportunity. Everything can be
Yeah.
considered an opportunity, but sometimes
Yeah.
things can come crushing you,
Yeah, like
and you
you're
can look at it as an opportunity, but
yeah.
it also may be scary. Maybe like, yo, what is going on? What is
Yeah.
this?
I'm talking more about like
Like getting a
business and
kid,
aside. Huh?
like getting a kid out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
exactly.
It's an opportunity to
Yeah,
grow, but then it's like, yo,
like in strictly business terms, I'm talking about like acquiring skills that are related to a topic and in the direction that you want. But what you're talking about is a very important life aspect as a whole. So you need to just be prepared to have certain things happen that were very, very unplanned, and you just get it done. To do that, like let's say if you're physically able, like you're physically strong and your martial arts is good or whatever, you are not scared in any kind of violent situation, which I was part of a fair bit. If you have a good strength as well, you'll be more able to deal with certain things like you need to lift something, which is you have to do a lot as well. But if you have good coordination, let's say you're not gonna fall when you would have in other times, which I have, which is good for me. Like all of these things help you actually carry yourself well through life, which again you can video game. And if you do that whole video gaming process in your head, it's just an effective way of fitting information in your head that will actually stick. Because we like to look at other ways that people have made information stick in their head and think that that is the most effective strategy because they sold it the best. In reality, my strategy is not even the best. It's just the strategy that works for you that is the best. So if you want to think of it as in, this is my divine purpose and God is sending me to do this, 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 and that. A lot of Christians think like that and it works really, really well for them. It's just I like to use whatever process is most effective for me to engage with reality. Like, let's say I'm psycho. I hype myself up and, like, come on, let's fucking do this. When I have to bomb a giant hill going up it, like, I have to
yeah,
cycle really fast up it and my legs are burning and I just start when I start like slowing down and feeling like lethargic, just come on, let's fucking do this, and I push again. So I'm literally actively saying this to myself as if like I'm a coach. That's just a technique that I can use to put myself in that moment.
yeah.
And like elite powerlifters like Eddie Hall would imagine that they're picking up a car off their kids.
After kid, yeah. That's a great story. That's a great story, man. You know, I actually have I used to do something similar, and I used to do that after I met one guy who's a power lifter right now. So what I would do is, for example, I would be doing like a leg press or something,
Yeah.
and I like leg press a little more than, for example, squats or anything like that, because I feel like I can. What is that? Okay, thanks. I can push myself a little bit past what I believe is possible.
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether it's just my ability for my legs to like recover in between of that pressing motion, or whether it's my mental ability, but I believe that I can push myself a little more. So what happened after meeting that guy, not straight away, but after some time, and we only been in the gym like once together, and not like we've been to the gym like way after I did that. So I would do the leg press, and then I would imagine him shouting at me, telling me to keep going. And that was very interesting because I've never done that before, and it would work because it's like, because I think I'm a very, very team-oriented, extroverted person who does really well when he's hyped up, or when he's like acknowledged that he exists, and like that helps me mentally. And I would literally like enforce that sort of help in my own mind when there's nobody there.
Yeah, like that's a big thing of why people get coaches in the first place. They don't want the actual coaching experience. They want just for someone to egg them on and tell them that they're doing good.
Of course.
Like I do this thing where I'm lifting because I do like a very specific split with working out. Like I develop my own system with it. But when I reach certain amount of reps, like let's say I reach 10 reps, I then reset the counter to 0 and then say that I'm going to 8 and imagine that this is my first rep and I'm just a bit more tired.
Okay.
And then I start counting again and I focus on my form like this is my first rep to try to not lose any form.
Okay.
And then if I reach failure again, I go back to 0 and I continue doing it like I'm doing my first rep. But I never try stop.
You basically endlessly bullshit yourself into action.
And
Fabulous.
And it works so well that at the end of my sets, I fall to the ground like I got shot. Like I was doing rows and I just fell after hitting the right amount of reps both times when I was doing a single arm rows.
Right.
And it's kind of like the whole Tom Platz thing, the way that he would do it, where he would fall to the ground and he couldn't walk. You need to get yourself mentally in a place where you're not there anymore. You're not doing that action. You're doing something that is outside of what your brain will perceive as comfortable. You're going into an uncomfortable place and generating even more discomfort for yourself because you're also putting yourself in a false reality. Like it helps. That's when you can play around with things, with lying to yourself and everything like that when it's done in those circumstances.
What's your volume like? How often do you train? Because you do train quite heavy, quite intense. You know, that would be to failure or past failure.
Like 4 to 5 times a week.
So would you do the same muscle group more than once a week?
No.
Okay, so once a week.
Maybe just biceps and arms and stuff.
Of course, because if you do like pulling and then you do biceps, that's the same muscle group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I do like weighted pull-ups now and shit, which are nice for back. And I really enjoy just building raw strength and movements and having rinsing and repeating exercises consistently for month periods. Just doing the same shit, increasing my weight gradually, reaching plateaus, and then moving on to different exercises or adjusting my diet. Doing things methodically of just write everything down and have everything done to a T, because then that's the only way that you can progress consistently. So took a while. Takes a lot getting used to of going on your phone after every set.
Yeah. I remember some of the best workouts I've ever had was leaving my phone in the locker.
Yeah.
But the problem with me is after a certain amount of time isolated, I start to think, right? So when I start to think, I start to want to write. And when there's nothing to write on, that's a bit of an issue. Because like I would always write like threads or not TikToks, tweets, or I would write my own notes, or you know, I would think about something. It always happened. But I never figured out a way around it. Like a way around it would be an empty phone with no internet, with nothing, just with some music downloaded onto it if I'd want to play music. And then having just like a notepad there. That'd be a way around it.
I would put my phone on silent often in the gym and just have it for music because I really like music and things.
I don't have my own. My phone is always on silent.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Try calling me, bro. Enjoy that.
Well, you want to pack this thing up?
We can,
Yeah. Let's pack it up and then.
It was nice though, yeah.
Yeah, it's been nice. I really enjoyed it.
Let me handshake you. That was good. That was good, bro.
Good one, brother.
Oh, exactly at 22.
That's what
Ain't that crazy?